Greetings! So I did a reaction video recently about the Melvins being on some strange television show when I was in the band with somebody named Jeff Probst from the fascinating reality show Survivor. And somebody watched the video and they left a comment to me saying, why don't you do something about when the Melvins video was on Beavis and Butt-Head? Yes, that incredible cultural 90s moment where two cartoon characters held the fate of bands on major labels in their grubby little two-dimensional hands. And I'd like to thank you, Gen XJ, for the suggestion. And stick around because I'm going to talk about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that happened on that video shoot with a little bit of history surrounding it. So the video takes place underwater, and yes, we were actually underwater for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
I think it's cool.
What? I can't understand what he's saying. What's your problem, dumbass?
What's your problem, dumbass? Went from being cool to what's your problem, dumbass?
Done right like a belty. Yeah, that's cool. See, like right here he says, Exit is my raging member.
Raging member.
Yeah.
These words rule.
Now the words rule.
If they x-rayed your wiener, would they see a bone?
If you had a boner, they would.
That's some long ass hair back there.
That would be cool.
Underwater activity for real.
Water is cool.
Yeah. We should go to somebody's pool and go inside it and go underwater.
Yeah.
And just rock out. Like a sticky photography on a wire relay and a stay.
And that was that. So Beavis and Butt-Head were a really big deal in the 90s, very popular. They were hilarious to watch. And one of the biggest fun things about them was to watch them just trash completely major bands. And record companies actually became nervous that these fictional characters held the popularity of some of their larger bands in their hands. And the label that the Melvins were signed to had a really big popular band called Winger. And they were kind of like a pop rock band that probably a lot of teenage girls had posters of in their bedrooms just to gaze at as they fell asleep, and just would hope that Kip Winger would show up with a Snickers bar or something and whisper sweet nothings to them. But Winger was actually dropped from Atlantic due to the outrage of Beavis and Butt-Head, and maybe the fact that instead of selling like 3 or 4 million records, they only sold 600,000 records, which is still a vast amount of records to sell. Anyway, I think a lot of bands started living in fear of Beavis and Butt-Head basically giving them the thumbs up or thumbs down. They became kind of cartoon emperors holding the fate of bands in their hands. And luckily, the Melvins were doomed to be kicked off Atlantic anyway. Well, let's not say kicked off, but the contract expired and we were going to be going anyway. So it really didn't matter, but I guess we could have put a feather in our cap that Beavis and Butt-Head actually thought we were cool. So for the past couple of videos that I've done, my wife Jennifer, who's an animator and graphic designer, has done a couple of drawings that sold instantaneously related to the videos that we're doing. So she's done another one right here, and it is of what we just looked at. And this is Beavis and Butt-Head actually watching the video Hooch. And so once again, we're entering metaphysical realms with this activity. You can have access to this and own this drawing by going to the link below and going to Jennifer's Etsy shop. And a really interesting coincidence that happened relating to all of this is that since Jennifer has been an animator, professional animator, worked on things such as Waking Life and a Lars von Trier enterprise called Five Obstructions. So when we were talking about the Beavis and Butt-Head video, she related a story to me where she'd actually worked on something called the Animation Show. Well, she didn't work on it, but she had a video in it. Mike Judge had these shows called the Animation Show, and he compiled a bunch of animation shorts from people that he had a great amount of respect and interest in. And Jennifer was one of those people. So this is the early 2000s. She is in volume 2 of the Animation Show, along with other great animators such as Don Hertzfeld, Bill Plimpton, and one other person had a couple of things in that, and his name was Chell White. And Chell White was the director of the Hooch video. And that's such a cool coincidence. So when we were making this video, I had not even played a show with the Melvins yet. Of course, I'd been working with them since 1986, producing records and doing sound on tour for them. But when all this stuff started with Atlantic, I had not actually played a show yet. I went to LA, and the first thing we did was make a couple of videos. And Hooch was the first one. And I seem to remember that Shell had a friend who worked in some kind of medical place or something and had a fluoroscope. So we went in there and we shot some live video on the fluoroscope, and that's the stuff that you see in the actual video. A fluoroscope is an X-ray machine that basically shoots video. So you can see in real time the stuff that's happening, and the singing or the lip syncing was happening in real time. The bass playing was happening in real time. And I don't think we had a drum kit in there, but I think Dale was waving some drumsticks around in real time. So this stuff was being lip synced to in front of a fluoroscope, and that's what you're seeing. Now the underwater stuff, we went to some house out in the valley in Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, and there was a whole scuba crew there, and they actually put a drum set on the bottom of the swimming pool. Fender got me some kind of cheap precision light bass. I had just gotten an endorsement deal with Fender at the time, and they sent me this little bass. I can't think of anything more useless than a light precision bass. It would be like a Les Paul light. I think they actually did that too. But so I had this little bass. We put on some loose clothing, and they threw us in the swimming pool, and they had a man down there with an extra tank of air, and they would just give us hits of air, and we would do basically 1 minute takes at a time, come up, take a break, and go back down. And we basically spent pretty much an entire afternoon in the bottom of this swimming pool doing this. Can't really remember where the rest of the stuff was shot, maybe in some kind of little studio somewhere. For you film aficionados out there, I believe it was actually shot on real film, not on videotape. And probably 16 mil or whatever. Chell, if you're out there, you can probably remember the tech on this, and if you want to chime in, you're more than welcome to. So the editing was done, the video was released, I think in September, to coincide with the album Houdini coming out, and then there was a tour with Primus lined up. So big record companies know how to do all this kind of synchronistic thing, which is basically a rollout of a product, and we were all on board with whatever they wanted us to do. We also did the Honey Bucket video, which I will talk about at some point, probably. So that's a little bit of the behind the scene action that happened with the Hooch video. So I'm going to be putting some tasty links below for you to check out that involve links to Chell's Vimeo page. You can check out some other things he's made, as well as some more animation that Jennifer's done, and the all-important link to get this, of which there is only one. Please remember to like and subscribe if you did in fact love this video. You can also buy me a coffee. You can check out stuff on my Bandcamp page. You can go to my Patreon page. And remember that I am more than happy to receive suggestions for further videos. And they can also be things that have absolutely nothing to do with music or anything I've done in the past. They could be highly speculative, introspective. You can share your deepest secrets here. Complete safety. Thanks for watching.